On December the 31st, 2019, the WHO pick up on cases of a viral pneumonia being reported in Wuhan, the People's Province of China, and by January the 5th, 2020, the WHO issues its first public disease outbreak news report addressed to the international scientific and public health communities. WHO advised that public health measures and surveillance of influenza and severe acute respiratory infections still apply. On January the 9th, the WHO reports the outbreak is caused by a novel coronavirus, and over the next couple of days published a comprehensive package of guidance covering topics related to the management of the outbreak of a new disease. Following the advice, on the 13th of January, the first case of the novel coronavirus is reported outside of the People's Republic of China by the Ministry of Public Health in Thailand. The virus is now spreading, and by the 30th of January, the WHO holds a member state briefing to provide more information on the outbreak. Over the coming weeks, the international communities start to report cases. Japan, the United States of America, and France are among the first. On February the 1st, 2020, Wales take on Italy at Principality Stadium, starting their campaign with an impressive 42-0 win. The stadium sings and comes alive with the annual Six Nations tournament. On February the 6th, 2020, the first British national is diagnosed after their return from international travel, and by the 28th of the month, the first person is identified as having caught the virus within the UK. Over March, the virus picks up movement and more cases are announced. The government enforces a nationwide lockdown in an attempt to slow the spread. On the 23rd of March, the advice is given, stay home and protect our NHS.
Stay at home, protect the NHS and save lives.
Hundreds of thousands of people across the UK come together and clap in support of NHS and key worker staff standing on the front line. On the 28th of March 2020, it is confirmed that Principality Stadium will be transformed into a surge hospital to help in the fight against COVID-19. This stadium, that has seen Anthony Joshua go the distance with Joshua Parker to win the WBO title, numerous Welsh Rugby Six Nations wins, tournament wins and Grand Slams, has seen artists such as Ed Sheeran take the stage to nearly 250,000 fans, is now set to house a new test, a new challenge, a new fight. In as little as one day, the work begins. A dragon has taken over our stadium, its heart now a lifeline to our nation, a space usually filled with singing, passion and delight, now filled with heroes putting up a fight. We remember you for being prepared and ready to care for all and keep us steady. The day will come when we will prevail, and the dragon will have protected those of Wales. The COVID-19 pandemic will pass, to leave us all with thanks in our hearts. A time that once was filled with anguish, loneliness and fear, replaced with love, laughter and cheer. It took a team of 2,500 people from different disciplines and different specialisms working 24 hours a day in synergy to make Calon of Ddraig, Dragon's Heart Hospital, a reality. And 1 month to the day from receiving confirmation of the use of Principality Stadium, the team welcomed their first patient to the hospital.
My name's Sean and I'm an urgent care assistant for St John Ambulance, Wales. It's been an honour to bring the first patient in. It's quite an honour just to be a part of it, even though it's in a dark age at the moment with everything that's going on, but it is quite nice to actually be able to move patients in so they can recover and hopefully be released and back into their home environments with their family.
The transformation of Principality Stadium wasn't just centred around the pitch. Aside from the structures within the inner ring of the stadium, the team needed to adapt floors 4 and 5. Rooms previously used for hospitality will now be the settings for care, operations and life-saving treatment. The media room that is usually filled with editors, writers and broadcasters is now the head of operations and the epicentre of planning and execution. The President's Lounge, now a ward, almost unrecognisable except for the WRU picture walls that remind us of the change that has taken place.
My name is Emma Thomas and I am a ward manager. We've taken the first 2 patients today. We've had patients from Landoc and UHW today. Our role is to get these patients back to their baseline, as we say. We want to get them back to their normal mobility levels, so therapies are going to be heavily involved, dietitians are going to be involved, or it's going to be a multidisciplinary team working down here. This is a hospital setting, everything is built up for a hospital. We just want to get patients back to their baseline and back home.
There are lots of elements of a hospital that need permanent installations, and although the stadium provides ample space and shelter, the team needed to source a host of different types of equipment and create many different structures. But what you probably hadn't thought about is the bigger and more permanent installations that a hospital benefits from. CT has a well-established role in the investigation of patients presenting with respiratory distress. It is a diagnostic imaging tool that allows us to get detailed pictures of the lungs in a patient presenting with COVID-19. Thromboembolic events are also associated with the disease. These cannot be identified on plain film and require the complex imaging that CT allows. CT acquires multi-sectional images of the area and allows us to assess for complications associated with the disease where there is clinical need.
So the oxygen on this particular project is fundamental to the Trust's requirements. So the oxygen will eventually run throughout the level 3, level 4 and the pitch wards that we're constructing. So the client's demand was to have oxygen to all the bed outlets that we've got. So it was a fundamental process and a fundamental task that we got those cylinders in when we did. One of the major challenges that we've had on this particular project is the ventilation system. As you can imagine, providing a hospital facility, wards, we've needed to make sure that we've got a good supply of extract, fresh air coming into the tent facilities. So the ventilation system that we've designed, the large tin boxes, galvanised steel tin boxes. So the purpose of those, that they'll feed fresh air into the tents, where we then have a system then that takes that air, recirculates it and takes it back outside. So this galvanised steel box is known as a plenum. The actual plenums that we've produced were 20 metres long, 5 metres high, 3.5 metres wide. You could stand in there. But the issue we had with that is we had to get it and slung up into the roof and then lowered into the sides or the gable ends of the tents. So because of how compact the stadium is, we weren't able to get crane or lifting equipment to the pit side because all the structures were up. So we had to use a bit of initiative, thinking outside the box, and that's where we used the roof structure. We had to open the roof, we had to get operatives safely up onto the roof, where they slung the chains that would hold the ventilation system. And then when it was safe to do so, we had to close the roof, which then slung the ventilation system into place. So this isn't your standard hospital ventilation system. We've had to use initiative. Typically, if you were going to design a hospital ward and have all the appropriate ventilation systems, that process takes months and months.
I would like to introduce Alex Murray, who is one of the clinical directors for Dragon's Heart Hospital. Alex worked alongside all departments, looking at the model of care.
No one really knew what COVID was like at that point. That's when we started looking at the modelling, at the figures, but it wasn't really until that point when I looked at the figures and thought, this shows us what our bed capacity is and our how much we've expanded the ITU and what our absolute maximum number of beds could be. And this shows that we have a shortfall of 2,000 beds. And that was the point at which, by then, they'd already started scoping out venues for a surge hospital. They'd had a sort of long list, which they'd narrowed down to a short list, and the feeling was that this was the best option. So the decision was made by the board to go for this venue. We convened the first team of sort of clinical people, start talking about the clinical model of care, so which patients did we want to bring down here. We were sort of starting to operate as a hospital while they were still finishing the tents on this pitch here where we are now. So those two things were happening in parallel. That was the point really at which it sort of started coming together. But there were pros and cons of every level. So on the pitch, we have two huge tents, something like 8 times bigger than the Glastonbury main stage in total. There's a sort of a central spine up the middle with wards going off to either side, sort of sections or zones as they're called here. On one side, they're slightly smaller than the other side, somewhere around 19 beds on the smaller side and 36 or so on the larger side. As you sort of progress up into the tents from that bottom area, which was the entrance, which is nearest to the labs and the entrance tent, then you get up to the washing facilities, the showers, the patient toilets, and the sort of operational areas. In the middle of April, the decision was probably made to go down to 1,500 beds. So we worked then on installing patient showers, patient toilets, including a good number with disabled access. So when we were able to lower that target, we were able to put in much better washing and toileting facilities for the patients. We knew that the first cohort of patients we would have would be patients in recovery, or what we called step down, who had sort of hopefully weathered the storm of their COVID infection and were in the sort of rehab type phases. That's why it was also very important to have space for rehabilitation, where the therapists could work with the patients. And in the end, that was one of the reasons why the pitch was so much better, because those spaces were just so much more available down here. But the whole experience was incredible. So many different stakeholders came together on a daily basis, and problems were resolved so quickly with such a huge amount of goodwill. Whole experience of getting this project off the ground and operational, and they worked over and above, and it was inspiring. It really was. The departure of the first patient, that moment that we'd all worked for, getting people better, and seeing the first patient going home, was pretty amazing. And we all lined the sides of the boardwalk to clap the ambulance out as that first patient was discharged. There was a huge amount of gratitude and outpouring of thanks, which was very uplifting, I think. It was a phenomenal experience. It was good to feel valued.
I am proud to have been part of the Dragon's Heart Hospital.
I am proud to have been a part of Dragon's Heart Hospital.
I'm proud to have been part of Dragon's Heart Hospital.
I am proud to have been part of Dragon's Heart Hospital.
I'm proud to have been part of the Dragon's Heart Hospital.
I am proud to have been part of Dragon's Heart Hospital.
I'm proud to have been part of the Dragon's Heart Hospital.
I'm proud to have been part of the Dragon's Heart Hospital.
I'm proud to be part of the Dragon's Heart Hospital.
I am proud to have been part of Dragon's Heart Hospital.
I am proud to have been part of Dragon's Heart Hospital.
I'm proud to have been part of Dragon's Heart Hospital.
I am proud to have been part of Dragon's Heart Hospital.
I'm proud to have been part of Dragon's Heart Hospital.
I am proud to have been part of the Dragon's Heart Hospital.
I'm proud to have been part of the Dragon's Heart Hospital.
I am proud to have been part of Dragon's Heart Hospital.
I am proud to have been a part of the Dragon's Heart Hospital.
I'm proud to have been part of the Dragon's Heart Hospital.
I am proud to have been part of the Dragon's Heart Hospital.
I am proud to have been part of Dragon's Heart Hospital.
I am proud to have been part of the Dragon's Heart Hospital.
I am proud to have been part of Dragon's Heart Hospital.
I am proud to have been part of Dragon's Heart Hospital.
I am proud to have been part of the Dragon's Heart Hospital.
I am proud to have been part of Dragon's Heart.
I'm proud to have been involved with Dragon's Heart Hospital.
I am proud to have been part of the Dragon Heart Hospital.
I am proud to have been part of Dragon's Heart Hospital.
I am proud to have been part of Dragon's Heart Hospital.
I am proud to have been part of Dragon's Heart Hospital.
I am proud to be part of the Dragon's Heart Hospital.